What have I been doing the past few months? So, here we go. Dude, I'm so excited for this one. I didn't put anything else in the background. It's just a normal background. Welcome to the parody, where we tally up the victims in my favorite movies. You already know who I am, and today we're looking at the 2022 Roblox epic Time Heroes. Like I've stated many times before on this channel, this is personally one of my favorite movies in general. I was there when the movie premiered just so I could see everything unfold. My origins with the franchise date all the way back to 2020 when I was looking for movies to cover. And Hostage just so happened to be there. I was willing to cover it even though the unrated version I used for all of the episodes was 2 hours 49 minutes. There were other films that came after it, so I decided to go check those out too. And by checking those out, I mean covering them on the parody. That original episode caught the attention of Wholesale Ryan 56, who directed that film, some other films in the cinematic universe, and who also plays Phantom. Eventually, I was done covering Blind Justice's entire arc. But I was drawn back to the series after recounting and re-recounting it. I also eliminated the entire rest of the franchise. The only one I need to cover after this one will be Synods. I do know after this there are still plenty more adventures with these fellas, and I'll cover those too. I'll also recount other parts of the franchise that I didn't give the full time to shine. But this film will always be the franchise's chronological conclusion. After 20 plus movies and a full miniseries, I'd say this was the perfect place to end it all off. And I even managed to get as far to where the film's creators actually watch these. It's even gotten to the point where there's an entire playlist just dedicated to these on the 101 Stop Motion channel. And apparently that's where you get all your top Family Guy funny moments. We're already over 3 minutes into this episode alone, so yeah, this is gonna be a long one, and I haven't even talked about the movie. Grab some popcorn, this is gonna be a huge one. The film revolves around all 9 main time heroes as they go forwards and back in time to corral all their old buddies, and in some cases, even victims. They're doing this to defeat Phantom and everyone on his side. Because like disassemblers and workers, these guys are gonna kill everyone related to a time hero they see in their sight. We see almost every single major thing that happens throughout this franchise. It's either in flashbacks to other movies in the universe, or entirely new animated stuff. It boggles me that I've still managed to only somehow cover 2 things that are live action media. Sure, some of the time heroes may have some grudges against each other, but they've united under one common goal. We see their characters expand over all 5 hours of runtime. In fact, let's go in depth about all the characters now. First off, Jason Stone, who is an average man living with his wife Sally and working for the Detroit Police Department. That's until Sally, who was pregnant at the time, was shot by somebody who was breaking into her house, causing Jason to go into deep depression. That is until he met rookie police officer Rico Delia, who he quickly became friends with. They even took down that bank heist, as y'all will remember. After Rico died and Jason was blinded, he's been working as a vigilante with Clarity ever since. Speaking of her, she was doomed from the start. She quickly became an orphan and was brought into a life of crime by Smoke, and she didn't get out of that life of crime until Blind Justice, aka Jason, interrogated her on top of a TMNT rooftop. Next up, Jeremy Lewis, one of the most interesting parts of this. He's the guy behind Jail Industries, and he was the head of it until one fateful day. I mean, he was still the head of it, but it wasn't the same afterwards. He had built a transfuser for jail, and while testing it, it went wrong fast. The thing blew up and killed 6 of his own scientists. And that's ultimately what led up to Phantom being a thing. Those are all the Blind Justice arc characters, and I'll go into the other characters more in depth, because this intro would literally be longer than I was already planning it to be. All of the time heroes are led on their path by clockwork, a neutral force that can apparently mess with time. But whoops, looks like Phantom got a crystal too, so now it's an intergalactic and interuniversal battle. It is by far Roblox's most ambitious project, and boy does it succeed! Put this in theaters and I don't think anyone would notice. Like with every other film in the universe, you have to pay attention to it visibly, since the dialogue only comes in as subtitles. At points, the movie's animation quality is seriously impressive. Especially when Shocker's on screen. They did not need to go all out with the lighting there, but they did. The movie's production had been going on ever since 2012, and all 10 years of that were worth it. The writing's also good too, even if the movie is a full 5 hours. In fact, the movie is so long they had to export it in 720p due to how big the storage space would have been. Really, my only complaint about the movie is that at times the sound is way too loud. How come my top 2 favorite movies both had their separate sound problems? I don't understand that! This is Roblox Cinematography's magnum opus. I encourage you to pause this video right now and go watch the movie. It definitely deserves a spot as my second favorite film of all time. I'm sorry, Spider-Man was just a tiny bit better. No matter if it's my favorite movie, it has gotten the record for most parody kills twice. Let's see if it can score the third time and get to them. The movie begins with opening credits in, I got this wrong last time. Let me see if I can do this right this time. Oh, in space. Was that enthusiastic enough? Some guy named President Jackson comes on and starts telling us the America lore. And by that, I mainly mean lore about Cincinnati, Ohio. There was terror unleashed on every single continent that they all apparently just couldn't stop. And with a British flag jump scare, they persisted. However, humanity had prevailed due to the valiant efforts of some brave souls like Selene Foster, who, for some reason, I'm gonna add as our first victim. With something as big as this, the rules don't matter. There was also, as he mentions, an anonymous vigilante who had everything to lose. And he does, however, mention one final challenge for the country. Moving on. Now we can swing into where Danny comes in, and body counts are rising past the millions. But here's where I barge in and tell you that necessarily doesn't go on the count, since we don't even see any bodies in the first place. Here, after the radio proclaims that he's officially lost, I will add 7 more bodies onto the count, all of which in Danny's flashback. The first of so freaking many. However, he's not going to let anything about the senator or any stuff about his past get to him. All he really needs is most Sizzlike apparently, because he just needs some beer. Walking to the beer potted town apparently doesn't do anything. All it really does is warn him about his impending death. I mean, he is seeing the light. The lights that signal the beer are sending him through space and time. During his flashback to other films, I can only add one person, this person from part 1, a Rattle. He is eventually stuck in the void, being greeted by a guy named Clockwork. Oh, and Danny, I think you'd like to meet your new friends here. I think you're gonna get along with them. Clockwork basically takes role for every single time hero, as they take glances at each other, with some of them not knowing who each other are, and some of them, well, they're a bit too familiar. Clockwork then proceeds to greet himself to the time heroes. They're here because they need to stop a phantom haunting the cosmos.
This fucking guy.
Wait, what the fuck are y'all looking at me? Clockwork then tells them to look into these crystals. Powerful flashback crystals, to be exact. Hey, you know that's Clockwork's code word for counting kills, right? Yeah, there's a full 22 in this first flashback, most of which come from that helicopter crash. Hey, for you impatient little fucks, I got something for you too. It's their own flashbacks, which add an impressive 24 more kills to the count, most of which I've already counted in previous counts before. It's a lot of stuff from across the cinematic universe, and I can't simply go into it here. It's also nice not knowing where the truck guy came from. And oh, we're not quite done counting just yet with the flashbacks. Let's add 16 more. The 6 people who were killed in the malfunction, the 9 people who were killed in that fire, and finally, Alexander H. Unknown to Hyperblurian belief, Clockwork has met Phantom before. He says the crystals he's flying about with are time crystals, which is basically just his time playground. However, Phantom has stolen one of the crystals. It's also not Jeremy's fault at all. Clockwork says that Phantom's their most dangerous enemy yet and that he prays for them. He also tells them that they have a purpose. When Danny heard the word redemption, he basically just ropes himself into the plan because he needs all he can get at this point. Soon enough, everyone else joins in. However, Jason has a problem in all of this, which Clockwork was apparently prepared for. And upon Jason's undying request, Clarity's brought into the mission. Well, Clockwork, time to give her more mental issues. I'll give Clarity an impressive 37 kills in this flashback, most of which come from a bank explosion. And also, most of these are from Hostage and Blind Justice. Only one of them is from another movie, that other movie being Injustice Armageddon. Well, seeing all of that again definitely eliminates trust in her from some other people in the group. After all the flashbacks are done with, Clockwork takes him into a GTA loading screen. Oh, no way, apparently that was just a warm-up for transitioning a crystal over to them. Oh, in secret, Clockwork's trying to obtain Seth Locke. Even though he's a dead guy, Clockwork explains that he can just prevent that from happening by going back in time to when Seth Locke died to get Seth Locke off the menu. Clockwork's tried to retrieve Seth way too many times, but he just couldn't do it. That's also another reason why they're here. Seth realizes that they could possibly kill Phantom, but as we all know, that just isn't feasible. When asked how Phantom could actually be killed, he greets him with a weird editing decision. He tells him what he basically just told them: Phantom could just respawn in any other timeline, but he can also kill them at any other time. This is why Clockwork gave him some of this power, just so they could have just a feasible chance at killing him. Danny grabs the crystal and whoa, sends him on a journey through time. Hey, no, that's not what I meant. And at the end of it, they're gone.
Hey you, I just want to do some crystal
Tanacar! The crystal sent him onto a rooftop in Ann Arbor, Michigan around 2015. I think we can all tell this is Ann Arbor because of a guy who went blue! And if y'all somehow forgot around this point, Ann Arbor, Michigan was where Jeremy Lewis started jail industry. Oh, that too. To hunt down Phantom, they need to find a headquarters, and someone has the perfect place for it. It's Zane, who grabs the red crystal from Danny's hand. Honestly, with all this going on, I think we can just casually douse Zane with fluoroantimonic acid. Unfortunately for everyone else, Zane has to figure out how the crystal works first.
Jason pieces some shit together because when they were all connected, their minds were thinking alike. Because if they focus on the crystal, whoever's holding it can operate it. Following the advice, they all focus on the crystal and get sent somewhere. They get transported to Compound 13 at some base. Compound 13, as explained by Zane, is a top-secret Russian base that was established by the Terror Legion. Within the THCU, the Terror Legion is a worldwide organization within the United Nations. Its goal is to use military defense against invading extraterrestrials. Everyone starts following Zane throughout the base, and Mitchell starts talking. Asked if using his powers hurt, Hyperblue says that it doesn't really hurt to do with him, you know? They get to where they're supposed to be, but Protocol locked down the facility.
The con's disappointment, Zane asks Drexen to destroy the door so they can get through. Zane gives everyone a house tour, explaining where everything there is. That doesn't stop Clarity from going back to her roots. Danny asks Zane if he has a suit in the place, to which he says he actually does. It activates and Zane says it'll get the job done. It needs a paint job, but we get distracted by Mitchell learning what gun control is. Drexen is displeased by the futuristic weapons, basically because they're all stored in a sick-as-hell hammer. Jeremy and Jason start trying to organize the place because they're gonna be here for a while. Jason says they can take shifts to make this thing easier. I know, that's why I wrote the minority of this episode, or... Zane tells everyone about the supply closet if they ever need it. Jason starts assigning jobs. Nia goes with Mitchell and Jeremy, and Drexen will check up on the heavily stacked barracks. Burt Gummer would be proud. Clarity starts to have second thoughts, which everyone decides to completely ignore. Instead, she gets assigned a job, following Nia and Mitchell. Afterwards, Danny and Jason have a full interaction. Jason asks him for a favor, knowing that Danny has been battling on the front lines of invasion. He also heard that he was Clockwork's main guy, so that means Danny can make the hard shots for this. Danny Danny doesn't exactly want to go along with this, since he considers everyone else superheroes for what they did. He was just some guy in a suit in his own opinion. He also explains his injuries. Jason talks some stuff into Danny by saying that by getting the crystal from Clockwork, that cements Clockwork's trust in Danny. That starts Danny's whole later thing. Afterwards, Jason says that he's found every location, with Cincinnati being a primary spot where Seth Locke died. He also lists locations we've seen throughout the series. They then list locations in Appalachia, Ohio, and then back up to Ann Arbor. The question remains after is Phantom's location. Hyper Blue should know, but he doesn't since he's trying to connect with him. Danny starts talking about Seth. He says that Seth killed Crimson in the past, and I'll add that to the list, although I don't know where it is in the series though. He tells his powers are stronger than multiple people in the group. He also explains that Seth was killed in action, and since it's integral, I'll also be counting Seth Locke, even though I should have done that a while ago. Everyone agrees to get Seth on the team except Drexen, who while he agrees that Seth would be a good ally, he discusses the possibility of a Phantom jump scare.
While Zane says Drexen's being a hater, Skull says, hold up, let him cook.
Before the conversation get heated, Jeremy comes through. When asked where he is, Jeremy says that he's where he started. Ann Arbor, Michigan, center of the Ann Arbor Metro, and county seat of Washtenaw County. That means it's crystal time now, and that's exactly what they do. They all go back to Ann Arbor, year 2018. They spawn back on the same rooftop they were on 25 or so minutes ago.
Since it's 2018, it's before Rachel could destroy Jeremy's reputation. Since the only connection here is between Jeremy and Phantom, Phantom only knows that Jeremy's here, not that the other time heroes are here too. And because of that, Skull devises up a plan. The first part is a conversation between Jeremy and Phantom, which will allow them to be able to move into a hiding spot. So because of that, he goes away. He tells Nia, Drexen, Mitchell, and Zane that they're going to be Hyper Blue's backup. But he says that Danny, Clarity, and Jason are the weakest of the group and will stay in the back. That means Danny could be the Crystal Man and their failsafe. Up on a rooftop, Jeremy gives Phantom an ominous note.
So, hey, Phantom. You know how you just basically formed out of me that one time, right? Yeah, I do. So what? I'm going to kick your ass.
Phantom turns on the electricity just so he can see the result of a deal he made with Clockwork. He asks a question that indicates some weird stuff, but Jeremy just says that they're both at the time. Phantom tells Jeremy that this crystal is just very powerful. So powerful, in fact, that it's very dangerous to have on a planet like Earth. Phantom goes further and says that the crystal is salvation. It is hope, and it is also change. Hey Jeremy, you know what else is a dangerous weapon? I know what. Your mother! Oh yeah, and Phantom also indicates that destroying the universe is apparently for the greater good? Mitch is pretty worried about Hyper Blue until Zane makes an unintentional pun. Jeremy tells Phantom to give him the crystal, just so they can go back to how things used to be. When Phantom says no, Jeremy turns on his electricity. And with that, another rooftop battle has begun. First of all, it starts off with Phantom using an Uno reverse card on Drexen. Jeremy invents electricity, and Phantom decides to do the same by warping space and time. Zane tries to fight Phantom, but is fought off by him instead in a really low frame rate. Phantom bullies his own creator and gives him a beautiful morning by flinging him into a fucking building. Oh wait, shit, that part of the building just blew up, huh? Endpoint estimates that there are about 4,000 people inside this massive building. But let's be realistic with this and only count the people that could have been near that window. One estimate, probably on the low end, says 23 people on one floor, so there you go. 23 people can be added. Skull is obviously not happy about that, so he tries to shoot Phantom until he disappears. Phantom is actually just a full-on exploiter, as he just beats Skull up from multiple angles. And by beat him up, I mean beat him up. He beats him up bad. He got beaten up so bad that when the premiere was going on, we all thought he actually died for a few seconds. Zane uses his Biden blast to do, nothing to Phantom. You know, if all these crystals can do separate things, then the Power Stone analogy actually works. Zane looks like he's in grave danger until an unexpected person comes in. It's Mitchell, the 10-year-old, and overcharged Jeremy. They both use their powers on Phantom, but at what cost? He's gonna win this all anyways. Phantom's overwhelmed so bad that this entire screen turns to white until Drexen comes in. Because Phantom's disappeared, they now think he's gone, which means that they didn't look at where we are at the film, because we have an excruciating 3 hours and 50 minutes left. Not excruciating in the sense of the actual movie itself, but because it's, so much I have to cover. Guys, we got him! Huh? He makes Jeremy use admin commands, and Mitchell starts a defensive or offensive, whatever way you look at it. He's battling Drexen and Nia, and they have a worthy battle for at least the next 2.5 seconds. Nia comes into the fight and activates the same power she used to escape the SCP. Wait, what? She actually manages to get a good hit on Phantom before he eventually gets back up. He wallows away all of her hopes and gives them the spare in this insanely dope battle inside this insanely dope fight. Nia generates some swords after getting back up, but she's eventually beaten back down by Phantom with electricity. They've regained some hope. Jeremy's back up and he's going on a direct offense against Phantom. It's a giant electrical explosion. Both Jeremy and Phantom are still alive, but Phantom does some weird fucky stuff with his crystal and causes this to happen. It obviously doesn't look good and Clarity wants to go save them, but they can't. They're the backups. Nia wants to continue the fight, so she continues the fight. Nia, you should have known the crystal doesn't like those swords. They get into another electricity-filled battle, and this fight was already filled with a lot of it. At such a late juncture, Danny decides to join the fight. He's the final battler here. Let's see how he fares. Dude, you should have added you bitch to that. Danny and Phantom are in a hard scuffle when Phantom flies away. He comes back and pounces Mitchell. And now he's holding Mitchell in a mid-air chokehold. He does eventually let him go by throwing him off the building. Oh my god, dude! Danny comes in and saves him before this can become the Toxic Avengers, and several bystanders look on. Now they're just hanging off the edge of the building while Jason and Clarity come in, cementing themselves as this channel's power duo. However, Jason doesn't want to fight him. They just want to resolve things between them. The opportunity is too late, so he just throws Clarity into Jason and into a wall. Danny and Jason get into their ultimate fight, which consists of a lot of punches from both their crystals' power. Well, Danny's down now, so I guess Phantom has officially won this rooftop battle. Phantom eventually figures out what all of this was. It was a team sent over to take him down. Phantom eventually decides to leave this shit after winning the battle and taking Jeremy along with him. Luckily, everyone is still alive, so I won't have to add anyone else here to the count. Wait, what the fuck? Are those voices in his head? We get sent off to the planet of Coryphia into an abandoned Avi outpost. In case if you've got, the Avis are the people in the franchise that are led by Lord Crimson. No time for that right now because Jeremy is imprisoned on a wall on this planet. However, before probably killing him, Phantom has one more mission. He goes to the Crimson Empire homeland, also known as the Viticus Cova 7. He storms right up to this place's headquarters and into 2 Avi guards. He's denied the right to talk to Crimson, so of course he kills them. He isn't about to abide by any universal laws. We cut to Crimson's fancy class trial room where he executes a guy for treason. Best not to get on this guy's bad side. He has a bit of hallucinations, where in one frame we can add 2 more bodies. This is ridiculous. Of course, all those body flashes were by Phantom, who joins the party. But then also... Wait, what the fuck? What the fuck? I'm sorry? Apparently, Phantom must be a part of Crimson's so-called vision from the far future. He tells Crimson about Clockwork, and then he's like, oh, hey, you want to form an alliance? Phantom then tells Crimson that his own people are going to be genocided years from now. Crimson isn't buying it one bit. Therefore, for him to buy it, he needs the crystal. He'll need the crystal to dominate the universe. However, that too does not apparently lie within Phantom's interest, so we decide to just cut it off. However, Phantom really wouldn't like that, so he doesn't decide to give him the crystal. Therefore, it's now a manhunt for Phantom. However, with that crystal, he's just basically become a whole nother being. He just straight up massacres all of the Avi guards in here. From another shot, I could count 17 people in here, minus 2 for the execution victim and Lord Crimson himself, so that'd be 15 Avi guards I see being killed in multiple ways here by Phantom. This guy just can't get enough of killing, I'll just tell you that. Phantom whips out his fart sword and gets into a sword fight with Crimson. The fight breaks into multiple areas without swords. It turns into a relatively short mid-air scuffle before Phantom gets Crimson flying down to the ground. Crimson says he'd rather die than have Phantom roll everything. Even though if you die, it will probably just still enable Phantom to become a mass ruler. He gets him on the ground, which is exactly where he wants him. Phantom uses the power of that crystal to induce some sort of reaction within Crimson. And it's enough for me to add him onto the count. After his death, the rest of his gang comes in. And for some reason, they all come in to bow down to him. We go to the planet of Arcusia, where there's some mayhem going on. Inside the place that belongs to some guy named King Wagner, we see 16 separate dead bodies scattered about, probably killed off screen due to the presence of this new guy. He's disappointed with Wagner because he's a false prophet. Judging by his name, I'm surprised he doesn't say bitch at all. I mean, Freddy Krueger's method of killing this guy will probably be more funnier than what Nightmare's about to do. Nightmare uses a hammer of his to completely crush in King Wagner's head. Oh my god, dude, you're already on a roll and we haven't even seen you for like 5 minutes. Like, holy shit, his head is just flat out gone. Yes! Obviously, with a kill like that, you're worth entering this guy's team. Oh yeah, the guy behind Phantom there is Scion. We're just telling him that they got a new friend that they've captured. Phantom has given Jeremy some better conditions, but they're still not, well, actually not that good. I'm sorry, Jeremy, but hey, look, check out my new friends. They're all pretty cool, right? We got a Death Adder over there. They all examine the new Smurfy prisoner, and Nightmare calls Phantom a door. Jeremy hasn't been caught up on all this yet, so he tells them where he is. It's the planet Coryphia, which is captured by the Avi. He somehow managed to swing a promise with them. With their help to overthrow the God of Time, he shall grant them a new beginning. He's granting them a Jason. Wait, shit, I mean Roy Burns, god damn it. It's a reality where we live in glory alongside all the ruthless murder going on. It's a plan that they've been circulating for millions of years, and the day he left the Earth, he searched for the meaning of it. The meaning of all of it was Clockwork, who we haven't seen for a full hour so far. He tells Clockwork all he knows, which is, nothing. But if we're talking about Phantom's powers, then he's brought entire races onto their knees. And what makes him unique is that he's brought wait, that was a time loop. Oh, Clockwork, you motherfucker. Ah, Clockwork, you just get old every day. That was my college name. Shut up about that. As we all know, Clockwork is the god of time and can bring anyone anywhere in time. He brings him back to when he was created from the failed trial of Jeremy Lewis, and therefore he should not exist. It's the scene from the Renegade remade in a more modern time hero style, a la Injustice Armageddon. We all know how this ends. It ends with it malfunctioning and killing 6 of Jeremy Lewis's scientists, and also thereby creating Phantom as we all know it. This stuns Phantom. Thereby, right from the get-go, his entire existence was wrong. He's wrought a lot of pain on this universe and into many, many people, including his hometown of Ann Arbor, where we see a dead soldier laid against the car. And if Phantom would change, it would only take time to do that. I'm sorry, what did you just say, Phantom? What he actually means by that is that if Clockwork can control time, then he could possibly change Phantom for the better. But even after pleading with Clockwork, he doesn't want another word out of Phantom. Phantom tries arguing more with Clockwork to be able to undo his wrongs, but Clockwork still isn't buying it. He's always added to the casualties. Phantom claims that Clockwork doesn't have any sense of morality and that he fears change. After denying that he fears change, Clockwork banishes Phantom from entering his realm. Get out of here! Except that, for some reason, Phantom decides not to get out of there, even though Clockwork has told him to get out. What grants Clockwork these powers is, of course, the crystals. The crystals provide a person so much power that they can just basically do whatever they want with them. Then, after hearing that, Phantom finally goes away. Jeremy doesn't want to join Phantom because the doy. Phantom finally notes that they had a crystal and wants to know where it is. Jeremy, being loyal, won't budge. Phantom then brings in Scion for Jeremy's worst nightmare, the torture of all Smurf kind. Okay. Back at Compound 13, the group really needs a breather from the Phantom battle. Phantom must have really did a number on all of them if they all have to be healed like this. This is one of those parts of the movie where there's not going to be any kills for a while. The next kills I'm going to cover in 35 minutes from this spot in the film. I find it nice that even though this film has an astronomically high kill count, it still manages to have breathing room from the kills. And hey look, Skull is alive after all. Everything had a lasting effect on all of them because they still appear to be harmed even this far in. Drexen and a 10-year-old will tend to Nia while we see what everyone else has as their effects. Apparently Jason got something in the chest, and Zane's been hit with a fit of anger. He can't exactly relax from it because of the significant loss he had in that battle, even after Danny tells him to calm down. That's because after the battle, he had kidnapped Hyperblue, who is one of the best people on the team. He just can't be happy with the results of that battle, especially considering what's at stake. But like, the argument starts off completely normally and fine. Then Clarity gets herself involved and Zane just starts to fucking lose it even more. She provides actual sound reasoning, but Zane won't listen to it whatsoever because he knows what he saw in her flashback. And then he decides to just spell it out for the audience right there. Yeah, I guess you're meaning to say you're being a total dick. I'm just gonna make a whole separate account for this guy's morale. Fuck it. Just do it. Because boy, I sure hope Phantom just breaks in there right now and just tells him he's afraid to change. Like, I know she's a mass murderer, but what made it so intriguing was that, you know, she actually learned how to change her ways. I even briefly underwent how she changed my original Blind Justice recount from June of last year.
The Kingpin has turned innocent people into killers for no reason.
Like, is Zane tone deaf to that she's the reason why that entire mob got destroyed? Zane says that he just couldn't, you know, stop people from getting murdered. Alright, Zane, then why didn't you just go stop the murder where you lived? And then he makes a joke out of Blind Justice's name. Oh boy, I want this guy to die. But he just pinpoints the exact reasons why, you know, we should just let her die instead. He pinpoints her valid excuses and says that she would have stopped if she didn't want to do it. But Zane, I have a very interesting little thing here. What if I also showed that she was coerced into it as a minor and couldn't get out of it because they would have killed her? Like, I know in Blind Justice and Hostage she did her buttload of shitty little things, but she managed to change from that because she wasn't scared of being killed at that point. The only reason he listened to why she changed was because he was lonely? Zane, you surely didn't forget about the entire Detroit Police Department and Commissioner Baker. Not to mention that he turned into a lone vigilante just because he could find the murderer that way. He chose to solve it by himself, dude! Oh yeah, what about the reason he thought she was his dead wife? Was it because they looked similar? Clarity has every right just to punch you in the face, but no, you bash your head into a rail! Like, dude! What? I'm getting sick and tired of this guy already. Can we just fast forward to the ending fight already? Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks amazing. Yeah. Oh my god, wow. That must have been the best thing I ever saw today. Just turned into, like, the most dislikable character of the bunch. But then you should consider where I've placed this movie among my top movies of all time. The character? Very dislikable from just this point in the film alone, but the writing of this is, oh my god, dude. Running through Zane's head, it might just be that this is the best thing he could have had to do at this moment. He wants to be a positive proponent of justice, but the way he does it here is just a bit too far into mean territory. Jason and Clarity have every reason in the world to be mad at this guy. His dad even tells him to stop, but he just doesn't. He continues escalating it, making jokes about other people's disabilities in the process. And yes, I know his main character traits do kind of explain this a bit, but it still doesn't justify anything else he does at all. Drexen, probably being the best person here at this point, despite not being a human, is just trying to make it neutral. She is akin to Zarn, yes, but much like Jason and Blind Justice, he'll let her explain herself and change as a person. As for Clarity, dude, she's been wrecked by that entire thing. He doesn't apologize for doing that, he just celebrates the occasion. Skull invades Zane's living space just so he can talk to him. He explains to Zane that he's been spending his entire life trying to be that Zane, tearing into his father now. He just demands an apology from the guy. Meanwhile, in another part of Compound 13, Danny and Jason actually do have good moments. It reminds me why I like them. They can hold other people accountable, but yet still forgive them because they've grown as people. And he also has super smart ways of planning stuff too, because they've been through a lot of shit. And also sometimes they realize some stuff they could use to get a one-up on Phantom in funny ways. Getting some more crystals from Clockwork in order to go back in time and to get their other foes out to the present. I mean, like, friends, but you know what I mean. Because when Clockwork's at the function, he's gonna be spitting out some philosophical shit. He then takes him over to the Ether and anomaly of a realm birthed from the crystal's combined powers. This was the place that we saw at the beginning of Crisis, which I counted back in 2022. It's where the entity was spotted, which rushed into South Carolina to sneak into our pregnant Tanya Simone. Oh shit, they actually show that footage here. He took them there to basically compare Nia's powers to his crystals. Oh yeah, the true ultimate reasons why he has these 9 particulars, because they stand a chance against Phantom. Phantom's victory earlier was only the result of him learning to use his crystal to his advantage. They're willing to take the risk to fight Phantom a second time, even though it might mean them dying. He gives them 2 crystals, even though the dialogue states that he only gave them 1. Maybe the one is the one that he actually gave them, and the second one is just for this mission. Back in Russia in 2042, they have a little recap over the locations they have to go to. They then list off a string of locations along with their years, in most cases. And as for the teams, they consist of Drexen and Rattle, Mitchell and Jason, Skull and Clarity, and the other 3, well, I guess they'll have to be going in their own team. So now they're all dedicated to their own separate paths. This will mean that they'll have to get to people and come back as soon as possible. And also poses a risk for my count. Our first pit stop takes us to Cincinnati, Ohio, and Invasion Day during 2017. In the initial shots, I could see 7 people getting killed, 4 invaders, and 2 are bodies on arrival. Zane can't believe his eyes, it's actually Cincinnati, Ohio, complete with all the bodies it's known for. Even in its crummy, torn-ass state, we still gotta make their way through in order to find Seth. Oh shit, no, that's just a random body. We see more invasion scenes as they run through Cincinnati, even with the burning background body exhibit. When it looks like there's no hope left, they turn into a cafe where multiple people are inside. There's at least 19 people stuck inside this cafe, with 2 of them being Alexis Joyline Flowers, also known as the White Knight, and the actual Seth Locke. Before long, Danny and Zane show them some cool shit. Oh yeah, I should have mentioned it before in this series, but these 2 are a couple. Much like Zane in fluorantimonic acid, where Alexis definitely hasn't met Danny's new beard. He explains to her that he's here for both her and Seth, even though Seth doesn't even know who the fuck he is. No time to explain that, just follow him. Our next journey takes us to Defensia, the planet from Fallen Kingdom. We cut right into the middle of a fucking war, come on! They're also having an invasion day where I'll just recount all the deaths from Fallen Kingdom that weren't like actual characters. That means I'll be making an addition of 96 fucking kills to the count, Jesus Christ. It's even worse underground where a lot of people are fighting this other Crimson guy. This is the location where Rattle and Drexen went. They use their ultra lighting powers in order to take this guy down. But that's not actually what takes this guy down. In fact, it's actually Rattle and a sword to the chest. Well, you can have introductions another time. Moving on to our next part. And if that A looks familiar, it's because we're going back to Blind Justice, one of my favorites of the franchise. And if you know what that entails, that means we're gonna have to recount the 6 Enneagram Society cards that 2017 Clarity had killed. Oh yeah, spoiler alert, they do nothing with him. Then it goes as it always goes, 2017 Clarity meeting up with him with a gun to his head. But that shit goes sideways when new Clarity and Skull pop up. You can tell it's recent Clarity because her hair is more detailed. They then apparently just hoard Frederick for themselves. And, oh, that's the entire thing. Hey, Danny, look, it's a white guy. Oh, and apparent off-screen adventures, you got this guy named Gil. Gil, real name Gillian Barclay, is the head director of the Terra Legion. You know, that one omnipresent entity in the Time Heroes franchise. He's introduced to Frederick Marshall, the president of the Enneagram Society, who still looks traumatized. And lastly is, holy shit, it's Frank, the guy who I forgot to count in the Renegade recount. And all of the other times I covered the Renegade. Since he died back in the Renegade, he wouldn't have known about the crashing of Ann Arbor. I think the reason for getting him here was because they would have been able to help in their fight against Phantom. In this place, I also have Ismas, Rattle Hunter, and Orphanage Burner. What the? Well, he's glad to be back since he and Rattle kind of had a thing going. Ismas explains to the 3 miners that he's been looking for them for quite some time. Alright, so you free kids better watch out because the guy you're talking to, may have burned down the orphanage one of you was at. Luckily, Seth doesn't know Zane, who's from the year 2045. Over here, we have Reclaimer, who speaks about revised prophecies. I guess you weren't speaking about never seeing a what the fuck? You can see the edge of the world. 2.5 hours in, we finally revisit Phantom and the gang. With the power of my crystal meth, I'll make this castle do some insane-ass shit. We get some less insane-ass shit when we revisit Danny and Alexis. She wants to know what happened in the future she didn't get to see. Well, what happened is that they destroyed the mothership and was really just Seth, and he died. Even though we actually saw her death in the Dark Knight Apocalypse, I'm still gonna count her since this is her funeral. Even though it doesn't really make that much sense, I'm gonna count her anyways. Even though the aftermath was fucking tragic, she still wants them to know that for the people who died in that movie, he still saved billions of more lives. Even with the state he was in the opening, she tells them about the impact he's made on a lot of people. Now that is sweet. Oh god. Oh god, the straight people are kissing! Jesus Christ! The next scene we see is Frank reciting of the Phantom Lord Frederick. Reclaimer is in disbelief about Clockwork's actual existence, but Ismus is the EA to Clockwork's 3DS. If Crimson couldn't kill them all, Phantom must really be trying to do what Crimson couldn't. Luna spots a problem. Why wouldn't he have just killed them in the first place? His strength must be pretty unimaginable if he was easily able to defeat them on that rooftop. But Seth thinks they shouldn't belong here, as if it were a mistake. His argument is that no matter if they defeat Phantom, their world in the universe is eventually going to end. But, aren't y'all's lives gonna end first? Yeah, but Seth, I have 2 crystals. Let's go beat their asses. Before anything is done, to get an intruder alert. Jeremy's mistake is in the base. Jeremy's mistake is in the base? Yeah, bitch, I'm right here. Come battle up. It appears he just, destroyed their entire base to level terms. Gil is told to grab the doctors and just get the hell out of there. We never see them again past this point, so I'm just gonna go on the safe side and, add them to the list of extras I've been keeping up with. After our OG encounter, he realized the potential her group had to his mission. Alright, so what if I just don't explain it to you and just use my purple crystal to send you to Coryphia? Reclaimer must be thinking Phantom's a complete idiot because he knows Coryphia. It was one of the tamest places in the universe. Now it's just a stereotypical desert wasteland. He summons his new gang to the scene just so we can have a little preparation for a battle. They get their weapons ready, but Phantom's side uses Jeremy as bait. Or more so, a figure to speak on their behalf. Phantom says he's only gonna kill them if he forces them to. Since they have 2 of the crystal meth and Phantom only has 1, with 3 crystal meth, it'll be easier to get back to Clockwork's crystal meth trade. Phantom then just completely goes back on that, saying that Clockwork's only wanting the universe to rot. If Phantom can overthrow him, he'll use it not just to save the human race or the planet of Earth, but instead the entire universe at large. Phantom, shut the fuck up. Oh, what? I'm totally not trying to turn you against the person who gave you 2 entire crystals. You know fucking what, Phantom? They used to be believable. Even with all the convincing Phantom's been trying to do, no one's going to join his gang. They attack Phantom with a force so large it turns Malcolm into a white person. Phantom's completely unfazed and just blows them all back in order for a battle to begin. Strap in, folks, this one's gonna last a while. I saw the entire thing go down live and I was like, what the fuck? Why is this lasting so long? I mean, it's fucking cool and I like it, but it doesn't drag on out for a while, but it's just so long. Even with green screen technology, I'm pretty sure this is only a way to get rid of the people they don't need for the final battle. Also, I completely forgot about this, but Reclaimer just chases Phantom from this weird cave system. While the intergalactic guys have a little skirmish with Phantom, the others are getting beat. This also might just be a way to show off their animation chops, and in Roblox terms, it's basically the top of the game here. Well, for sure are better animation and lighting out there. To do this for 5 hours straight in a feature film is just insane. Huge props to all 15 animators who worked on the film, which include Endpoint, Jackie Pooners, and Raven Akira, who've done some stuff for the series. Sad that Wholesale Ryan 56 didn't do any animation for the movie because his directing work in Rattleport 1, Hostage, and part of Injustice Armageddon is fucking amazing. This group also includes some people who upload their animation efforts to their YouTube channel. Spoiler alert for later in the parody right here. Super Matty 90 animated a few of the kills we'll see throughout this battle. That included animating Lena's death, even though the rough animation just shows a completely blank character. Endpoint forgot to tell him that he'd be animating a scene of a child getting killed brutally. Apologies if I got anything wrong there. Senshi article also posted animations for the film, which involve what looks like Madness combat characters and reused Yorchiro material. I think this scene right here is done by Jackie Pooners because since Yorchiro old unit, he's had awesome lighting. When I saw this live, I was like, yo, what the fuck? Why does the lighting look better than the rest of the movie? Anyways, I might have gone a bit too off topic. Back to the rest of the battle. Hey, look, here's this part where Zane gets fucking battered around by Nightmare. Although there's no actual kills yet, so I believe I'll be good. Rattle's gotten the upper hand on her foe, so it looks like she'll be able to dominate this guy in battle. Oh, she really does! Fuck what I said about there being no deaths in this battle. That guy just got killed! She prepares to fight against Nightmare, but didn't you see what that guy did to King Volnir's head? You're screwed. Jason and Clarity cause a distraction for Nightmare, but not before he fucking yeets Zane's body! Anyways, Nightmare gets electrocuted. It does nothing since he splooshes them away. Ismus gets into a firefight with, who the fuck was he again? All these guys kinda look the same. Mitch freezes one of them, but before he can get out, Rattle melts the ice cube. I really have nothing to say for most of this battle because all of it is just going on for so long. From what I can consider, it goes from roughly 2 hours 53 minutes to 3 hours and 15 minutes within the film. That's a whopping 22 minutes. Anyway, Scion really batters up Jason, so there's probably not much in the road for him. Rattle gives a reason for Scion to be pissed. She impales Inferno with 2 swords, and at first I thought that was it. Nope. He's just completely dismembered. Jeremy's basically freed from his constraints, which means he can finally do some stuff in the battle. But as soon as he got free from the restraints, the first time hero gets killed. Like, just in the movie as a whole. As Malcolm watches in horror, Nightmare goes to town on Little with his hammer. It lasts for at least 15 seconds before one of the characters finally puts a stop to his Nightmare. He went on her so hard, you can even see a bit of brain matter in the corpse. What the fuck? Malcolm must be seriously pissed right now. He, Danny, and Alexis all tried to do their best to stop this guy from causing more harm. Oh, and I guess there's also a cameo from Jeremy. Mitchell learns the truth and sees another truth unfold right in front of him. 2 out of 3 of the Frost reps have now been killed. After Mitchell uses his Fee Effect powers, both Seth and Ismus do the same. In another place, Vortex drops Danny and Alexis down to the ground. Well, Corin has even bigger problems to deal with. Oh, shit, he has no problems to deal with anymore. It's all but confirmed when we see a hole through the chest. Hey, King Veruza, now your son is dead. You want to get added to my count of extras because I'm not sure if you die in this scene? Reclaimer's like, hey, what's up, bitch? And just slams himself in the Phantom. Danny and Alexis start speaking dialogue when they remember who Vortex actually is. So a Vortex, do not kill his girlfriend again. We do not want extra depression. Well, that's someone ringing in and telling me about their overwhelming depression. So, like, what's going... Oh. Shit. I'm incredibly sorry about that. Well, at the moment, Danny doesn't have any real-life depression. He will soon. That's why he's fighting off Vortex. Meanwhile, in the sky, Rattle and Scion are having an epic battle. Turns out, Scion knows what the Ether is. Then he spawns some, weird, invisible clones. Vortex takes Danny off, somewhere, while this black void named Seth is looking for him. For some reason, Seth is viably able to kick off Vortex. For a while, it looks like Vortex is completely unkillable until Danny comes in to stop him. The Cyber Girlfriend Killer and both of his sides plan work, and he's ultimately able to get Vortex down once and for all. Judging by the dialogue becoming more prevalent within the scene, it looks like the battle's about to come to a close. Reclaimer and Phantom are still having their battle in the sky. God damn it, Drexen, you just had to ruin it. God damn it, Drexen, Phantom literally has the upper hand now. Wait, Drexen, what are you doing? Just do something about this! I guess just look at your brother's corpse too, that also matters a bit, and oh, Reclaimer's been split in half. It appears Phantom thought they had come to an understanding of his cause, but he was just dead wrong. And against all odds, Jason still isn't dead yet, but I hope he can make a full recovery. He tells Clarity to go leave him behind, and even though he slumps over in this scene, I'm not gonna count him, yet. She finds the others, and along with Ismus, she does some stuff to Nightmare. Aside from missing half the group, Jason's been down and this Nightmare guy can't seem to be killed yet. Before he told her to leave, he gave her this crystal, so that's what they can use. Danny says that they should just use whatever they can on Nightmare Rafton. They ultimately get the thing to flee somewhere else. They follow him to where he went, and they're almost ready to have a kick-ass battle. However, Nightmare has the power to make them all look like a joke. Scion pops in and is like, oh, these are some very interesting heroes. And then, oh, hey, look, Phantom's back. Yeah, see, there he is. I know I was supposed to add someone else to the count here. So, who was he? Fucking, give me a hint. Oh, shit! Jason Stone has officially been killed from a decapitation, and I'll add him to the list now. He's done this because I guess the Time Heroes have asked for a war. In fact, Jason had a bit of trust in Phantom, and he just killed him anyways. At the rate things are going now, we're never going to join Phantom's little group. So at this point, it's just gonna have to be a mission for Phantom to kill them. Except one flaw, we still have about an hour and 40 minutes left of the movie. Rattle screams all shield, so I guess it's now time for the Time Heroes to go back to the base. One of Danny's swords is picked up by Phantom and it's thrown into the shield. So it appears they're gone. You guys want to get dinner? Oh, here's an intro showcasing each and every one of us. The group actually manages to get back to Compound 13, but they're really shaken up. Except Jeremy, who's up for this shit! Or are they really, though, because there's some crying and screaming heard. Apparently something had happened to a female member of the group, and it turns out to be Alexis. Oh no! Apparently that POV to the neck was a warning. During the zapping, Alexis had been killed due to a decapitation. I'll add her to the list for the second time this kill count. Wow. Damn, that fucking sucks. The situation riles him up so bad he almost activates the crystal before Radom has to calm him down. He goes to the stairs to grieve while Drexen tells him that he can't simply abandon his team because he lost a loved one. Oh yeah, it's also stated within this line of dialogue that King Ruizer did in fact die, but I'm not gonna add him just yet. Although he is dead, I'm just gonna wait till a later point. He reminds him of the oath he took in Clockwork's realm and that he was in fact the first one to do it. After telling him a lot to go back inside, that's exactly what Drexen does after talking to him. Danny apparently knows of a place where the others won't find him inside the woods. Except there is one unknown person who's been able to find him. Turns out it's in fact Phantom. Somehow he tries to argue that Alexis's death was not intended to be personal but instead a message. In fact, he did send a message. Danny's going to fucking murder him. Right now, in this entire state, it's a state of war, and she just got brought into the line of fire. He assumes the others had been defeated, but, you know, why is Daniel here in the first place? No answers, or even fucks for that matter, will be given. Phantom keeps on going on anyways, and states that every single Time Hero is a victim, being dragged and manipulated into becoming Clockwork's proxies. Phantom then sends them into various points in time to illustrate his message. The first point is in Danny's old room at 8:48 a.m. Of course, we all know that he survived the invasion from the Crimson Empire, but who else didn't? Excluding the group of survivors are Danny's friends and his parents. It's awfully sad to see him relive these tragic moments within his time. Although I guess we see all four of them in the invasion, so I guess I'll have to put them on the count. Clockwork didn't basically do shit about this, even though the governments of all of these countries were. But even those governments couldn't do jack shit about bodies like these. Another group known as the Septoids were more dangerous than the actual Crimson Empire, and they wanted to turn the Earth into their own fucking harvest moon. The next point Phantom sends them in time is this bunker filled with a lot of homeless people. All the people down here is what is left of humanity after the invasion of the Septoids. He doubts the reality of all he's seeing, but the actual people down here are just humans like him who managed to survive. If Phantom hadn't interfered and changed his fate, then he would have just been down here and completely unremarkable. He shows them a tale of a group of soldiers who had managed to survive the Septoid invasion and are now going after them. Apparently these guys also have their own superheroes that are necessary to help. Among this group of people are people we know from throughout the franchise. It includes people like Seth Fox, someone who I think is Nia, an adult Frost, and of course the Dark Knight if he was still in this timeline, another Alexis, and even one of Danny's friends. However, in each and every one of Phantom's alternate timelines, it didn't change a single thing, not even with these hordes of fucking flyers. God damn! Earth was next in the line for processing from these Septoid things, so I assume who these guys are. They also have executions like this and Jesus, god damn, that wasn't graphic at all, but it was seriously disturbing. Phantom, not helping. Any other alterations Phantom had made to Danny's other alternate paths had led to some interesting and troubling side effects. For one, Danny's in awesome lighting, what might actually be the best part of the film. Really, this entire scene is, but goddamn. The scale, all the shit we see, damn, it's seriously probably one of the best parts of the film I've ever seen. And when I mean that, I really mean that. It's part of a new and improved transfusion, and instead of Rachel Maybell becoming Shocker, this time it's Emilio Bardem. The other characters can't see Danny, but Danny can see the entire rest of the scene play out, and something we never saw in the franchise. Oh, shit! What the fuck? They just fucking preserved Vortex's entire body! And what, also use that to turn Emilio into Shocker? Jesus Christ! That's also really freaking disturbing, and here I'll add Emilio Bardem to the kill count. Cause goddamn, I need to see this bastard on at least one of these kill counts. But I am super happy because of that, because holy shit. Danny then gets thrust into the climax of Injustice Mortal. It shows all the shit we've usually seen in the film, but along with a few other extra things. It shows us a way better understanding of each and every attack in that fight scene. Like I said, I think this scene was animated by Jackie Pooners. If I'm wrong about that, then holy shit, this is impressive. Fucking kudos to whoever animated this, because this literally looks amazing. Calling it now, man, because even if I said Spider-Verse was my favorite at the beginning of this video, Time Heroes just took back the #1 spot, baby. But all this can't be real since we see Emilio Bardem as the Shocker. Even though the others can't see or feel Danny, he still tries to interfere within the situation. As expected, they just fly right through him. Even though Danny's tried his best to interfere with his alternate reality, he really can't help them. That means something has to be done, and holy shit, he's slurping his soul! Since when does that not constitute as a kill? And also, since it's an alternate reality, I'll also have to include Jason Stone for the second time. This is why Phantom must have changed up the realities, because Jeremy and Shocker as one duo would be fucking devastating to the Earth. And since he says fate, that basically confirms why I had to include both Nia and Jason. Fuck, as a fan of all of these characters, this scene right here hits the hardest out of all of them. In the event that he somehow miraculously survives the final time battle, he will still have all the emotions that he's been constituting over the course of the last 3 hours and 40 minutes. For all the eons, Phantom's apparently been trying in vain to create a more peaceful reality for everyone. Apparently that reality was one in which humanity had a chance, which is the one he apparently ultimately chose, which is the one he's in right now. As we all know, Phantom is the antagonist of the film, but this scene right here more or less shows why he's actually just gray. Sure, his motives are mostly evil, but he still does have some sort of morality within him. He's actually basically the only one within the franchise to preface him with their inevitable death. This is one of the most effective scenes in basically any movie for me. Even though it doesn't preface anything in a, hyper-realistic way, it still does it realistically enough to have just that much of an impact on me. Eventually, Phantom loses his connection to Danny. We get back to the compound where, oh shit, Gil actually survived, and he has some more stuff to do within the movie, but I'm still including him among my list of extras. Gil's gone, but now it's Frank's turn to light Jeremy up with a memory at MIT on his 21st birthday. Like, yeah, when they all got drunk! Apparently, while we were drunk, they had built those damn robots while taking shots. Yeah, remember Jeremy? oh yeah, bonus points, Frank filmed the entire thing happening. Frank's opinion on the matter is that it's not possible for someone to change the world without making mistakes along the way, or also changing themselves as a person. If it wasn't for that god-awful mistake that killed 12 people, he would have become a Hyperblue or a Smurf. Jeremy had always wanted to change the world, and now is the time he has. Okay, but what about Mitchell over there, who's all traumatized? God damn! One devastating scene after another. Jesus Christ. It hurts me to the core to see this child basically grieve over the death of one of his friends at such a young age. The sad truth is that it's basically the truth for some kids nowadays. But while this isn't his containment within the SCP, he's here with them to save the universe now. And he's got everyone else who's still alive. God damn, that line too hits fucking hard. On the lighter side, Ismus has never really gotten the chance to talk to Nia, even though I don't think she can speak anymore. If she had remembered anything that happened within his past, he's sorry for how things went. Wait, Nia, what are you doing? Oh shit! It's another heterosexual! Oh shit, it's a white guy! Jeremy thinks there's only a few places where Phantom could have actually gone. One problem with that is that Danny's is gone along with his crystal. I guess their next task is to just sit around until he shows back up. Drexen calls Skull by his personal name, and he laments that it just got a little bit too personal back there, and while Jason really does care about the team. It's like that time he and Drexen were on the moon, because now Danny needs a team for him. Drexen agrees with the team angle. Meanwhile, Zane tells the computer to do a search for any activity involving otherworldly or large spikes in energy across the planet. Oddly specific. What Skull originally was just this one kid off the block who couldn't stand up for himself, but the war and everything else that's happened has really made him into the person he is today. As well as Amy, his uncle, and Zarn. But also all because of that, he missed out on his lifetime opportunity just to hang out with his son and raise him. He's not asking for forgiveness, but he is changing and growing as a real person. He's man enough to admit to his mistakes and his flaws, and that he truly loves Zane as his own son. Hey, you! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Oh, but it's in the good way, because he had him at I'm sorry. Now with her improved relations, they can go find Phantom. We cut back to Clockwork where Danny's entering the club. Danny's not here for crystal meth or to inform him about their loss against Phantom. Instead, he's just here to confront him. He just wants to know why Clockwork had lied to them and why he even dragged him into the— Oh shit, okay. Since Phantom has 2 time crystals in his possession, the end of the world may be soon, and since we have an hour of the movie left, we'll have to find out. Unless they can all come to a solution too, another attack will be imminent. And now with a true hour of the movie left, Daniel has to go back to where he came from. And where he came from is a better time since it's before the Crimson Invasion. In fact, it's goddamn 2014. It's the original events played out since he knows that's Alexis under that white suit. Oh shit, did he need a detective to find out that one? The only reason Danny had gone back in time to 2014 was to save Alexis from the Crimson Invasion. That's right, he went back in time to 2014 to save Alexis from the Crimson Invasion. That means we're getting the band back together. Chris, Marco, Henry, the parents, and everyone's parents, and they're getting the fuck out of Cincinnati. Yeah, fuck Ohio. In fact, he sent them all across the international border because it's 2017 in Toronto, Canada. During their alternate future, Danny and Alexis got married and had a baby named Naomi. In this apartment, they're watching a sports game with a lot of extras in the background, I guess. These two are Harry Webster and Marco Sellers, Danny's 2 friends. Alexis doesn't want to get into her NFL game shit. She does for a tiny bit, but only to tell her to keep it down since Danny's putting the child to sleep. Oh, that's a poop joke. And also it seems like for the afternoon, they're baby-free. Back in their high school, they had them taking baby classes in health, but that was while Danny was still doing that superhero shit. I guess their favorite show's about to come on since they want to switch to the TV. But some bad news arises when something pops up on every single channel. It's 2 news reporters who are reporting on some stuff happening in Ann Arbor. What, someone go blue again? Oh shit, someone did it! That's Jeremy and Phantom from Blind Justice / The Renegade. Since JO Industries had some involvement, that means it's followed Danny into this timeline. Danny has to go somewhere, even though he held up the cape a long time ago. He proclaims he's sorry for dragging him into this, even though all that stuff's back in the United States. When he told her that he was from the future, he wasn't lying. He actually did come from the future. The truth is, he was recruited by some god of time, and that he actually hasn't seen them in years because some aliens invaded and took everything he loved. Then bam! Whips out the crystal meth as evidence. In his timeline, there was no savior to rescue them from the invasion, and he also tells them about Clockwork. Phantom stole one of the crystals and the universe was on the verge of being destroyed, but some guy named Clockwork, like I said, recruited 9 people into a single team in order to stop him. He just couldn't do it since the being Phantom wanted the rest of the crystals, including the one he's holding right now. Danny had ultimately taken the crystal he gave him and just left them. He just wanted to start over and live the life he always wanted to live and not get interrupted by this bullshit. And Vic completely believed Danny, partially because Phantom has the ability to level Ann Arbor. He'd watched too many of the people he loved die, and there was gonna be no way he was able to go save the universe. Well, if the Clockwork guy chose Danny to leave the time team, then he really has the entire universe on his shoulders. To walk away from that would just be a selfish thing to do, and it's not really him. Remember how many times Alexis kicked his ass? Danny was always the type of guy to them to just stand up for others, even when it meant that his entire life or even the universe was on his shoulders. And even if he leaves this timeline, he's still gonna have it within his life. That's all the encouragement he needed, and they all huddle up within a group. First of all, he's gotta tell his baby that he's gonna be gone, but oh shit, you didn't tell her how long you were gonna be gone, dude! Judging by these graphics I have, it's gonna be forever. Then right next to his baby, he goes back into the future, 2042, in the timeline he was ultimately stuck in. Back at Compound 13, the group really needs to know where Danny is. Their working theory right now is that he's just left them. Meanwhile, Steph keeps on going on and on about how they're trying to win an unwinnable fight. Even then, in that case, Clarity lost the second crystal, so they're just gonna be stuck here. Even then, they could still reconnect with Phantom because he has some telekinetic connections. Hey, Seth, look up behind you. Oh shit, he's right behind me, isn't he? Hey guys, what's up? You wanna do some crystal meth? Even still, dipping from this team might have been a better way to survive than Jason and the others. Jeremy just wants to apologize for Danny for what they were apparently talking about, but Danny got it and he's fine with it. He drops the truth bomb that Clockwork's been lying to them the entire time, and they pull out of Phantom's timeline and not the actual timeline. Even with that dumped onto them, it's still not over since Phantom has enough crystals to match Clockwork's. As of now, our plan is to just take all the crystals and set things right for everyone. Yeah, the plan sounds good, but remember last time when we tried to take a crystal from Phantom? To get stuff from the armory to suit up, they have about an hour left, so... dude, it's really just the end of the game. We travel back to Iris, where we see a whole bunch of neat little extras. Inside the throne room, King Drexen appears inside Drexen's room. Well, that is if he traveled to the correct timeline. This King Feroz has seen enough tragedies and intergalactic wars in his lifetime to allow his people to run blindly. In this Drexen's many years as king, he's had several artifacts from each and every war he's been in, including the Keep of Orion from Injustice Mortal. Who knows who could be capable of what with multiple time gems after all. If it were up to our own timelines, Drexen, it would be to revert the damages his family has caused on the planet. Power is a dangerous force, but it isn't when it is in the correct hands. However, it was in the wrong hands, so they have to dispose of them. Therefore, Drexen's gonna be giving Drexen a weapon carved with pure energy from the universe. Holy goddamn, it's a new fucking hammer, yo! Back at the compound, Jeremy's being juiced up by Frank and Gil. And wouldn't you know it, he thinks it's perfect. It's a new exosuit designed for him, which was designed after the original ones with some modifications. There's also a few other things going around the compound, and it seems like things are going well. The good news about this is that everyone's all up and ready, with only a few touches remaining. All of this gives Danny a bit of hope. Even if he doesn't make it out alive, he's still gonna thank him for being the closest thing he's had to a natural family for a long time. Oh shit, welcome back to the Void! It's finale time, baby! Phantom states that the universe deserves a new opportunity other than Clockwork. However, time flows as it usually does, that there's no debate here, but Phantom does not want to debate right now. His interference within time has created chaos within itself, and that they both know that he has more strength than Clockwork. Enough chasing Phantom, resetting timelines, and racing damages. It's time for the final strike. Phantom just tries getting the remaining 2 crystals anyways, but is forced away from them by Clockwork. Phantom's already shown these heroes the truth, so therefore it's now at his hands for them to die. Finally, Scion and Nightmare are back in the fray. However, a new challenger seems to be lurking with some white smoke. It's Danny, who proudly proclaims that he's done playing these games with Phantom and Clockwork. Specifically Clockwork, since he's had the chance to stop every single war, crisis, and suffering they've been through. At this point, it's time to shake things up. What that means is bringing in the other 9 members of Danny's part of the crystal meth trade. After they considered and thought about it for a bit, they'll hear out Clockwork. Sure, Phantom should be stopped, but he's not the only problem within the situation. Since the aim here was to stop Phantom, it's far too late for that, and even if Clockwork assisted him, he'd be far too weak. Therefore, one final assault is called. Hey, Scion, what's up, man? Oh, what are you doing? Why are you holding up Clarity in the air and sending him your way? What are you doing with her? What are you doing with her? Come on! Oh shit, she's dead! Holy dear God, let the battle begin! Nia, Zane, Mitch, and Ismus run into a pile of Scions. However, the real one is actually within the air with Drexen. Meanwhile, Clockwork and Phantom are having their own little battle. And no, I didn't mess up when I added Clarity to the count because at this point she's still barely alive, but I'm still going to retain her place on the count simply because, well, by the end of the movie, she's definitely gonna be dead. When she actually does die though, Mitchell has to see another person die in front of him. Phantom and Clockwork are still duking it out, and when a few of the time heroes go over there and try to get to him, Nightmare blocks their path. Well, all 3 of them aren't strong enough to take this guy down without any armor, so let's Iron Man up into this. Even with technology or not, he and his group of titles are not going to make it alive. Yo, Clockwork, are you a pussy? You're gonna fear or die? Well, the whole, you know. After Nightmare initiates his admin commands, he gets down and starts getting harassed. Or more or less just a barely even fight with his hammer and some electricity. They all get in some punches on him. Impressive. I see why Phantom was hesitant to kill you. But now? Castellos says, oh shit, I've been injured. There's more punches and kicks within this fight galore, even with the additional dialogue. Meanwhile, for what I guess is the past of the entire universe, Phantom and Clockwork are chasing each other. Good God, a full hour of this movie is just kick-ass battles. That's basically just a fifth of the entire runtime. However, even though we're basically going through the tunnels of time, Clockwork knows where he's going. He sends both him and Phantom into the ether. Holy shit, what we're watching right now is basically 2 practical gods of time duking it out. If this was happening like right now, that'd be the most what the fucking cool thing at the same time. After another failed attempt by Phantom in order to get the crystals, they continue fighting in the ether. Meanwhile, Seth needs a bit of help within his own fight. Nightmare is straight up kicking his ass. In the sky, Drexen continues to have his 1v1 with Scion. Corin, join my Fortnite 1v1 lobby. I'm trying to crank some 90s against Scion, and I don't know if it's working. Eventually, his 90 cranking is helped by Nia, who joins him in the fight. It helps so much, he even loses his scythe. Eventually, he gets his scythe back and is fighting against Ismus. With the help of some 4 physics, he's able to get Scion back his way. Eventually, he just flat out disappears. He's on the ground now as being tracked by the people with guns. However, killing all these Scions has come at a ridiculous cost, the cost of their exosuit battery lives. Because of the energy they're wasting, we're gonna have to think of another way to kill all of them. Hey, Ismus, you gonna come with a bit of help here, or no? Are you just getting choked to death by Scion? Okay. We'll just wait for you to come out of the grave. Drexen comes in with a counter-assault against Scion. What is this, the 3rd fucking battle? Danny and Nightmare are having a sword and hammer battle. Nightmare could have used without the dialogue. Danny, you too, even though that was a good fireback. Danny knows he's gonna want to beat your ass even more. Quips like that can help too. At this point, Nightmare's lost too many brethren to let a human deny his right. But you know, maybe once I kill you, Danny, maybe Phantom will give me the what? Going back and doing all of that slowly. Zane comes back in and gets some shots on the Scion. The real Scion, though, is still with Drexen in the sky. Drexen, don't let the red overcome you. You can take him out at any time. He's dead. He's dead too. Fuck, this is not going well. Zane and Skull get into an awful lot of a familiar situation. Nia comes in and Scion's all like, all the power from the crystal and the ether and you still refuse to use that at all? Come on, how much of a dummy can you be? Scion, not sure that name calling is also the way to go. Back at Zane and Scion's battle, looks like Scion has transformed into Zarn. Yeah, it does look a bit familiar. It still doesn't properly phase them that much when they get back to fighting. But then, oh shit! Oh shit, it actually happened! It finally happened! Woo! Skull's reaction to his death is understandably upsetting. However, up in the sky, Scion and Nia are in the final stages of her own battle. She very quickly turns into the entity and does some magical explosion thing and takes Scion down along with her. Scion and Nia, you both had a hell of a run. And with that, the only other member of Phantom's group remaining is Nightmare. And as you're going to see within the next 5 minutes of the film, Nightmare is going to make the entire group look like a hell of a joke. Then what the hell is happening now? Skull's turning like white smokish? Whatever. Oh, he's been powered up. Jeremy flies into Nightmare at full force but gets annihilated by him. And since we're gonna see his body just completely dead within a minute, that means that Jail Industries has run out of a CEO. Skull manages to get a few hits and dodges on Nightmare. That includes Nightmare's 6th selfie. One person who doesn't manage to dive the brunt of Nightmare is Seth Flock, who gets body slammed. Skull and Nightmare have a little scrimmage, even with Skull being in his powered up state. But Skull, man, you gotta believe. Gotta believe that star power-up doesn't last as long as it does. The last of Danny's squad alive, and yes, I said the last, is Frost, who manages to get some freezes in on Nightmare. You know, I'm just glad the child was last to survive, but he still does die in a brutal way. He's launched up and gets a few energy blasts from the hammer before ultimately getting punched away. That means the recharged Danny is the last time hero remaining, and he has an epic brawl against Nightmare. He actually has a fair fight against him since he's able to destroy some of Nightmare's weapons. If you transform into slow motion until Nightmare tries to get the upper hand. But, Nightmare, remember who has the time crystal. Nightmare proudly proclaims that Danny should be the one who dies for the crystal. But fortunately, Danny uses the crystal effectively enough to get Nightmare down. He uses the powers of red crystal meth in order to get Nightmare down to his final moments. And yeah, while Phantom and Clockwork are still battling for their own deaths, at least he got the biggest nightmare of them all down. Now Danny's off to fight Phantom, and holy shit, oh god, it's actually pretty even. Phantom temporarily incapacitates Danny for some quick talk. At the rate things are going right now, the future's beginning to look pretty clouded. Phantom's technically just beaten every single time hero. Basically, ever since the beginning of the universe, Clockwork's left it scarred from his inability to act in efforts to prevent chaos. In Clockwork's defense, he is the god of time since he sees all, including the imminent demise. Since Danny's gotten back up, anything could be possible, and, you know, he's not dead. However, in Danny's own opinion, none of these two deserve the crystals. All of his chaos has been happening because these two thought they could control everything at their own wills. You see, Danny made a little promise to his family, saying that, you know, he'd save the universe and all. That means he's gonna have to beat Phantom's ass, and then he and Clockwork can have a little chit-chat afterwards. So there we go, the final ever rumble of the Time Hero cinematic universe. Somehow, Danny manages to summon back his swords, but it's only a plot convenience for Phantom. Because holy shit, he just stabbed that sword through Danny's stomach! Wow! He still moves for a few minutes after this, but I'm saying it right now. All the Time Heroes have officially been killed. I'm just shocked. As it turns out, basically everyone else at the premiere was also shocked about this outcome. You know, since the film was called Time Heroes after all, we basically all thought that, you know, they were gonna win. We all as in, like, people in the chat who weren't crew members. So to see this outcome play out a full 4 hours, 45 minutes into the movie is surely not what we were expecting. Because even then, Bloodborne or not, Clockwork's methods are unforgiving in the actual nature. With the power of all those crystals, Phantom should be able to give the universe a new start. One where it's actually both lost and suffered, but where it's actually also lived and gained. He doesn't want any more endless wars, or famine, or disease, or even pain. He was called a monster for what he had done and basically just wants to reverse it. All of this was never about Jeremy or Daniel or even the Earth. He's actually basically had this plan since he came out of the transfuser in 2017. Since Clockwork knows what Phantom actually is, he knows he's not lying. And now it's actually all over. Phantom's achieved his goal, so now what? Clockwork's at no use at this point, so he gives Phantom his remaining 2 crystals as well as the one Danny was holding. Finally, I have all my crystal meth. Now let me just center it and mold them all into one. And then boom! The whole universe started in a hot, dense state for nearly 14 minutes. Fucking bam! He's just reset the entire goddamn universe. He's just pondering over everything at this point with one single white crystal. The movie ends with Phantom's satisfaction. You may notice that the background music isn't exactly where it should be, and that's intentional since we actually still have a few minutes of the parody. Plus, isn't resetting the universe basically also the end of it? That means that we still have plenty, and I mean plenty of kills left to count. First of all, I'm going to count the God of Time himself, Clockwork, since he basically intentionally had this sacrifice coming. But our count still is basically far from over. In fact, we're not even halfway through it. Next up, we're going to have to count all of the extras I could see appear throughout the film. As of now, I've had a little tally going on for all 3 parts, and we've had a grand total of 538, but that's still not complete. In the roughly minute the opening goes on for, I can count 36 extras, meaning our extra count is up to 574. Then secondly, I added up all the characters together who would be in alternate universes, which resulted in a total of 99. Thus, our count of people killed in this universe reset would so far then be 673. Lastly, I decided to count every single extra I could manage to count in between all the films, even with a bit of stretching here or there. And using that method, I can conclude that Injustice Mortal had the most extras with over 2,500 of them. Not bad. Oh. Fuck. They all died. Oh shit! Yeah, this figure has a bit of estimating in it, but it's more proper than any other count we've had before this. So with all that, I managed to count 2,965 extras across the entire franchise. And since they're all reset, I had to add them to my list, so, I don't fucking know what to do anymore. So, Phantom, may I answer your question? Are you satisfied with me having this type of kill count for one of my favorite movies ever? Yes, I am. But anyways, how does Edgeworld feel about this?
Bitchin'.
Yeah, exactly how I thought. Did the sacrifices of all the Time Heroes lead to a new kill count champion, or are we gonna fall short of the current record held by Edgeworld Surf and Turf Wars Part 2? Well, there's only one way to know for exact. Let's find out and use this very delicate time crystal I hid in the set to get to the numbers. Let's see how our sacrifices did. First sacrifices gave his masterpiece of a film a grand total of 3,295 kills, which I believe is the new parody champion. Whoa! At least I know Ultra Despair Girls isn't getting it. Whew. Anyways, fuck, we have like the entire Earth on the parody, so but it's only basically just 3,295 of it. But still, that gives this planet a pretty impressive pie chart when we look at it in consideration with everything else. And also, against the franchise, well, how else are we supposed to stack these out fairly? How do we expect that? And then also when it comes to the top 10, this easily soars over Edgeworld Surf and Turf Wars Part 2, with twice the kill count of it too. That's fucking awesome. With a runtime of 295 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 5.37 seconds. There are so many fucking options for the Amethyst Flamethrower, I just simply don't know who to give it to. But for the purposes of giving it to one of the head smashings and not making a kid, I'll give it to King Volnir's head smashing, because holy shit, that was seriously brutal, but like in the best way possible. And ready for a rarity? I'm not going to give a broken pistol here because even though there are many options, I know, I just can't give it to a flashback or something else I had to guess, so there. So sadly, that's it. Time Heroes was released in 2022, and as of now is my all-time favorite movie. I am so hyped to see what little remains of the franchise, but like, until I cover Rose on the parody, I'm Tesla / Chelsea Rose, and this has been the parody. Thanks a lot for watching the, this fucking insanely long parody. I just, like, didn't know what to do with this for the first few months of its production. When I got it back on track, I really got it back on track. I just did basically the majority of these last 2 parts, so basically a majority of the episode within basically the last week. That is, not hard. That is... I don't mean not hard. I mean, like, that is not easy to do under any circumstances. But aside from that, I just want to give out some very special thanks to the people who made this franchise real. Endpoint, Wholesale Ryan 56, Raven Akira, and Jackie Pooners, the 4 main members of, like, the main Time Heroes crew. thanks for directing these movies and like making them happen so I could cover them on the parody and thus bring more attention to them. I'm so happy y'all value the attention it brings you because, no joke, this is probably like one of my favorite movie franchises ever. The worst installment is like just okay. I can't think of another movie franchise I've seen that can actually do that. So massive props to you and to this movie for being my favorite movie of all time and getting the Kill Count parody champion for the third time. Oh God. I'm just having a fucking ball. I mean, like, I'm just sad I can't talk about my favorite movie anymore because doing this was a blast no matter how hard the counting could get at times, because some of this might have been like really oh God, some of this might have been really hard to count, but thankfully I had previous time hero counts like the original kill count and the recount just so I could get like back on track with this. So yeah. Whew. I'm gonna be covering Synod soon, and until those other projects come, I've had a blast watching your series. Thanks, Endpoint. Continue being awesome.